We get a lot of questions on how do you create a balanced subclass.
Well, today we're going to be taking a look at the Create-a series by Matthew Gravelyn.
Welcome to the Home Brew Crew. I'm Tony, this is Sean, and today we are going to be going over the Create-a series by Matthew Gravelyn.
Yeah, so this is basically a series of different supplements that helps you create a subclass for the main classes that's already in D&D. So there is Create an Oath for Paladin, there is Create a School of Wizardry. Today we're looking at the Create-a-Patron.
Right, we thought with Avernus coming, it's good to actually flesh out how to make a Warlock patron or a subclass of your own.
Yeah, and this file is really great because you get a lot of really detailed instructions on how to actually create the patron from level 1 to level 14.
It's balanced from beginning to end. It shows you on how to put something in there for damage resistance, what types of abilities people get at first level with a Warlock, what the cap at the end of it is when they get their total. And I think this is by far the best way to actually look and create one of the subclasses. I get so many questions on this.
Yeah, and actually as you're reading this particular PDF, he actually goes through two specific ones that's kind of getting created like as you're reading.
Yeah.
And at the end you actually get the full creation of these two Warlock patrons. And today we're going to be looking at one that's very fitting for the Avernus setting that you might want to consider playing. This is the Unburnt patron.
Now what's cool about this patron is it's mainly fire damage, but there is some great stuff that you can end up doing to even your fiends that are down there in the Nine Hells. Now, as we're going through this, I want you to look at this and see how well balanced this thing is, because it is spot on.
Yeah, so right off the bat, it kind of nails the description and theme of it. It's not necessarily like, you know, a demon or like a fire demon. This could also be something that's like a celestial or an angelic form that's kind of giving you these powers. But the expanded spell list, he kind of goes into how you need to pick spells that fit the theme of that specific patron. And here it makes sense. I mean, you get Burning Hands, Flaming Spears, Scorching Ray, Fireball. You get all these spells that kind of, you know, wrap up itself in the kind of the theme that you're going for.
Right, so that's step one. Always find something that fits the theme of what you're doing. Now at first level, most Warlocks get 2 abilities, sometimes they get 1, but there are oftentimes, you know, light abilities and things that come through. Like for this one, you get Blessing of Flames. That gives you a first level ability of being able to cast the Firebolt cantrip, which fits perfectly with this Warlock. Doesn't count against your Warlock cantrips either.
Right, and it ties into the next ability, which is probably one of the better abilities of the class, is Marked by Fire. So starting at first level, you can use your action to choose a number of creatures within 30 feet that you can see equal to 1 plus your charisma modifier, and basically they gain vulnerability to fire damage until the end of your next turn.
Now I know what you're thinking. How does that exactly work when we're down in Avernus and everything is resistant to fire? Well, according to page 197 of the Player's Handbook, you can actually apply the resistance first and then the vulnerability. So essentially, most of the time, it'll just kind of come out even.
Which is still pretty good because you'll still have a lot of your spellcasters still maybe trying to cast Fireball or Firestorm, but at least now it's at least doing the normal damage that it would have done.
Now, at 6th level, you get an ability called Font of Fire. Now, this is where most Warlocks get their little meat and potatoes with things.
Yeah, so essentially when you use your action to cast a spell that does fire damage, you can use your bonus action to cast the same spell at the same target without using an additional spell slot. It's almost like the sorcerer with the meta magic a little bit there, right?
Yes, but remember how awesome it would be for a Warlock to be able to cast another spell at the same target
without using that oh so valuable spell slot, which as a Warlock, you know you only get like 2 or 3 of those. So.
But it's balanced too, because this one is only with fire damage spells.
Yes, exactly. And the other target still has to make a separate save, so there's always a chance that whatever effects applied might not actually affect the target, but it's a really nice ability. It's very useful for a Warlock specifically.
Totally. Very balanced, very awesome with that. Now, 10th level is normally when you get your protection stuff and your interesting things like that. And what do you get at 10th level with the Unburnt?
So you get Fiendish Protection, so you gain resistance to fire damage, and when you are dealt fire damage, you can use a reaction.
I love this ability.
To release a blast of heat that shields from fire damage. So basically, any number of creatures that you can see within 10 feet gain resistance to fire damage until the end of your next turn. You're basically doing this like instant like heat shield against like any kind of flames or something.
Right, and you know how useful that'd be, like going through a trapped hallway. Everyone's seen those trapped hallways where the fire comes out the side of the walls like that. Yeah, Send your Warlock first. He goes there, he casts this thing, he sets it up for this Fiend's protection, and everybody that's within 10 feet of him behind him like that now has resistance.
Right.
You're still going to take the damage, but it's
Take
only
as
going to be
much.
half.
Yeah. Or if you have that pesky DM that's tossing fireball at you, this is also nice to do that as well. So
now your capstone, the last ability that you end up getting with these things here, normally comes at 14th level, and this one is from the Ashes.
yeah, so this is where you kind of get that end ability that the Warlock's kind of been waiting to get for, since you started your journey here.
And it kind of like brings everything back together.
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
So when you reduce a creature to 0 hit points with fire damage, you can use your bonus action to explode the corpse into a ball of fire. All creatures within 30 feet besides yourself within the slain creature's vicinity has to make a dex saving throw. If they fail, they take 8d6 fire damage or half as much on a success.
See, now that's really cool. You know what I would target with that? Little minions.
Right, exactly.
You target the imp or whatever that's there. You give him you get rid of his resistance to the fire damage. You target him with this ability. You kill him in one hit, and then you have him explode to kill the rest of the people that are there.
And it's great because it doesn't specify how many targets. It's literally anything within that 30 feet radius. It's basically like creating like an additional fireball spell, really.
Yeah.
And it's awesome.
Now, I love this class. The other one that's in there is just as awesome, and the reason being is that he really shows you how to actually write these things down and really create a class.
Yeah, I like this file a lot because there is a step-by-step process as to how to create this class when it comes to flavor, when it comes to game mechanics, and why you should add certain abilities at certain points. And there's a nice balance between like whether or not you have to pick, movement or combat or non-combat or all these different things. And Matthew goes into a lot of reasons why you would follow this process. Right.
This is honestly, if anyone wants a reason as to how to build an actual subclass, this is the series you guys have to look at. They are pay what you want on the DMs Guild. We'll leave a link in the description below. Definitely check them out. Throw a couple bucks his way because this took some time to actually plot out these ideas, but it is pay what you want. So definitely check it out.
Yeah, there's a long series of other ones, like I said, to make the other subclasses as well. So if you do have a chance to check them out, we highly recommend it. And speaking of DMs Guild, if you do want to help support the channel, we do have our own content on DMs Guild as well. We do have the Briarthorn that we are currently
That's right. I wouldn't recommend a Briarthorn with Unburnt.
Probably not.
Kind of
they
thing,
might not get along.
They're tree people, but this is definitely something you can definitely pick up. You can find the link in our description and at the end of the video if you want that. It's only $4.95 for the Briarthorn release, and it's a new race that we're putting out there, part of Vogel's Compendium that's set to come out this December.
Yes, and of course, the other way to help support the channel is if you want to hop on our Patreon. We do have behind the scenes and exclusive stuff. If you want to sign up for that as well, we'll leave a link down there below if you want to sign up.
And of course, as always, you can always send us your homebrew stuff at dmbrewcrew@gmail.com. So remember, the best campaigns are always the ones that are homebrewed. So until next time,
Keep brewing.